Hello, 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 everyone. We're going to give it some time for people to come in as the notifications go out. I'm going to take a sip of water, actually. And we are going to get into the collective reading for this new moon in Virgo. This is going to be quite an intense one, to be very honest. Hello, John Michael. Welcome. Long time no see. Yeah, where I get my coconut water. They ran out, and this one swears up and down it doesn't have any sugar, but as most of you know, I've been fasting, and so it tastes like it has some sugar. It says 0 sugar, it doesn't say any sugar. It's only 40 calories, but it just might be extra sweet for me. Hello, Goddess. Hello, Divine. Hello, Humble. Hello, Plant Power. Welcome, everyone. So we have a lot to cover with this new moon in Virgo, and I don't want to overwhelm you all with time. And so make sure you have water or a tea, chillax, relax, let's chill, let's vibe. Take out your notebooks if you want to take some notes, or you can do that on the replay. But let's get into it because there's a lot. And some of the decks that I actually have is very interesting, the decks that wanted to come out. And it's actually very Halloween-y too. So I'm super excited because, tis the season, right? But this new moon in Virgo is happening September 2nd and September 3rd, right? Depending on where you are in the planet. And so September 2nd at 9:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So convert that to your time zone. Hello, beloved sister Abundance. Gina, I love you. Welcome. So for those of you who don't know what a new moon is when the sun and the moon is both conjunct at the same degrees in the same sign. Excuse me, I gotta wipe my eye. And so the day before the new moon, we're going to have Pluto returning back into the sign of Capricorn. Pluto is in Capricorn's home house, right? In the 10th house as well. So Pluto is retrograde, so it's going to be there for the last time from September 1st to November 19th. And then it will ingress back into Aquarius, where it's going to be for the remainder of its time. So that's a really big deal because this is the last of its generation in Pluto and Capricorn, right? And so as you know, the outer planets are very generational. They're there for a pretty long time. Pluto also moves the slowest out of all the planets. And so that shift in itself, breaking down the traditionals, the fears, the bondage, that into the Aquarius, as y'all seen, this Aquarius can be rebellious or revolutionary. It can be out of the box, right? Whereas Capricorn is more strict, firm, reserved. It's more, they're both, Aquarius is naturally ruled by Saturn also, but they do have different personifications as to how they tap into Saturn's energy. The second planet that rules Aquarius is Uranus, right? And so that's more in modern day astrology. So it can be really tough, it can be really intense, limited in its ways, or it could feel like one is limited, right? And again, when it comes down to astrology, what I always tell people is this is like the weather, right? You know what the astrology is, so you can move accordingly. You want to move above the influence. You know what the energy is looking like, and you say, well, how am I going to take charge of this? It's like if you're going to a family event and you know that there's an aunt or uncle who's just always bombarding you with questions, or belligerent when they're drunk and stuff like that. You prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and all of that, so that You know what you're putting yourself into, and when they start acting up, it's either time for me to go, or you respond in accordance to what's honoring your healthy boundaries and what's honoring your highest and greatest good. And so Pluto in Capricorn reminds you of those healthy boundaries, right? It's putting those down. But it can also be where there's going to be a lot of major shifts again in the workplaces, right? A lot of, I feel like it's going to be more people receiving breakthroughs as to what the fuck they were so scared of when it comes down to their limitations in their mind of what they want to do for work, or what they consider a career, right? Like what, a job versus a career, and what it is that you've been wanting to do for the long term, right? It can feel like maybe you were in the wrong path, in the wrong career for years, and you come to this realization, like, what the fuck am I even really doing here, right? And so we've already seen that this is gonna happen for the last time, but it's coming back up. Hey, Raymal. And Raymal, you was actually on my mind, because I was like, oh, I never text Raymal back. I'm so sorry, brother. I love you so much, and thank you for showing up. You are just in time. I was only talking about Pluto entering into Capricorn and how that's going to look like career shifts for some people, right? The transformation in a career shift, not necessarily like endings completely, but definitely can be transformations. It could be like realizations of like, what could I do better? How could I change this in a way that's going to honor me? And because it's only going to be there till November 19th, come when it goes back to Aquarius, some of y'all may be feeling that like shift again too, of how you want to like have it more authentic to you, whereas maybe it's feeling more restricted or reserved. Whatever the case may be, you take it for you. So we're gonna have the sun and the moon conjunct. Obviously, that's what a new moon is. It's going to be opposition to Saturn, which is in retrograde in Pisces in the 12th house. We're going to kind of get into that. It's going to also square Jupiter in Gemini in the 3rd house. But it is going to trine Pluto in the 10th house. And so that's very important, because the sun and the moon is going to be in Virgo. Virgo is your day-to-day routines. It's also about the workspace, right? It's also about healing. It's also like your foods, the healing of your finances and stuff. There's a lot going on too. Right, we recently had Venus go into the sign of Libra, and where it likes to be fair, likes to be fun and flirty, but it's also it's going to trine Pluto as well. So this is a great opportunity to take this new moon and really put some time in investing in what you deem is your career for you, or putting, writing down your career goals at the very least. I would definitely, how everybody's like super big on vision boards. This is the new moon. You want to do that vision board, because I promise you, more than likely, that shit is going to like really take off for you moving forward with some of the other transits we have later on in the year, right? And so it is going to be a little bit slow pace. Mercury is out of retrograde, but it's still in its post shadow phase. So some things may still feel a little bit slow, but with Saturn in retrograde, with it opposing Saturn and Pisces, this lets you know, like, I feel like there's going to be some revelations coming through as to like if there were like any haters or hidden quote unquote enemies, or this is like even self-sabotaging tendencies or boundaries that you put that perhaps weren't necessarily like healthy boundaries. These things coming up to the forefront for you to really take a look at, right? So it's the sun and the moon is going to be opposing that. And I know some people would say, well, it's an opposition. Why would it will probably conjure up some low-key haters or conjure up, other people. But the reason I say this is because I think it's an energetic thing depending on what frequency you're on. And more than likely, if you're here, you're in this space where you have eyes to see. And that makes sense now with why some of the cards come out. One of the cards that came out is called Dark Mirror. And Virgo is also symbolic of like with the Hermit, where she's like really doing that deep reflection for the healing work and going within. And so the mirror of your reflections and the shadow sides of that, I kind of want to get into that, especially with all this like Pluto and Capricorn energy, so that if there is any other like residual shadow work to kind of get into that perhaps you were ignoring, didn't know, didn't see, right? This is definitely the time for also doing that. We're going to have Venus squaring Mars in Gemini. Venus squaring Mars in Gemini is going to be really intense because, at least the way that I see this, is Mars is very fast-paced, and it's very spontaneous and impulsive when it's in the sign of Gemini. But with Venus and Libra, it's like a lot of that is going to be like, people that are going to be impulsive are going to get G-checked like, whoa. Because of all the Pluto getting back into Capricorn, Venus trining Pluto, and she's in Libra. Ain't, that backlash to that, what I would say is, for those of you who perhaps may have been feeling a stagnant of energy when it comes down to your finances or something like that, I can see this be a beautiful shift for your finances. And that kind of came up in the last collective reading that I just did. I called it paradigm shift, just because I didn't know what I was going to be getting into, just channeling, and that's what was coming through. Right. And I was like, oh, Spirit is so witty. Right. And so I say intense for those, the Venus square Mars is going to be intense for those that really are acting impulsively and not really taking the time to soak in the lush and luxury energy that Venus has to offer. This could be, certain energies where if there's like an abundance of negative mindsets, that being challenged, right? It's going to challenge you to be more optimistic. But again, we do have the sun and the moon squaring Jupiter, which is the optimistic one, right? It's the one that wants you to always think positive. It wants you to exaggerate your splurge and your fun, right? It wants to party. It doesn't want to have responsibility. And Venus is, Saturn, the sun and the moon in the sign of Virgo is squaring Jupiter. Like, you just want to party. You don't want to work. You don't want to do nothing. But it takes hard work to achieve your goals. It takes you walking the journey. It takes you practicing what you fucking preach. Like, you can't get here by faking the funk. And that's really what this new moon is really addressing, is no more faking the funk. It is really going to show you the results of where it is that you've been putting your time, energy, and attention to, right? And so Venus is opposite of Neptune as well. That is in the 12th house. So that's why I was talking about the revelations, because you're going to see the seeds that you sow come forth. And if you didn't sow no seeds, it's going to be unfulfilled harvest, right? You're not going to necessarily see the results you would like to see. And so that's really paying attention to that, because sometimes it's very easy to kind of get into like spiritual ego traps. And that's really what this is also going to highlight for you to bring to the forefront. Hello, Sandra. Welcome. This is really going to bring that energy, as a highlight for you to see that, right? Mars is also squaring Neptune. So even though it's going to be impulsive, Neptune is a bit of a self-sabotager. Like, yeah, it could be spirituality, but it's also delusion. It's also like, the addictions. And so that square, with Venus squaring Mars, Venus is squaring Mars because she's like, yo, I need you to do better. This is divine feminine, and I'm not talking about gender. I'm not talking about men versus women gender war shit. Although it may have a physical appearance like that, okay? So I want you to be aware of that it may appear on that day that y'all see a lot more like gender war shit. And we kind of see this in the politics going on right now as well, right? Which is very interesting because, again, Venus trining Pluto, where it entered into Capricorn, and we can see what the presidential debate is looking like right now. And Pluto's going to be there till November 19, which is also when all of the voting stuff is going to be happening and stuff, right? So really keeping that in mind. So you're gonna see that, but it's more the divine feminine essence, not male or female. This could be within yourself or just in general, right? The divine feminine energy is coming through with a fair love, a balanced love, a love that is like, I want to nurture. It's time for an equal exchange. It's time for equal opportunities, but also like not necessarily where it's like, it can look different for everybody in their household, right? It's as simple as the man producing their fair share of the energetic exchange that the woman is sharing with her energetic exchange, right? I'm not going to go into your households. I'm not doing personal readings right now, right? It's not about just like, 50-50 money, rent, this, that, and the third. Ain't nobody talking about all of that. We're talking about even energetic exchanges of reciprocation, right? And so that's what Venus is going to be challenging Mars to do. Like, listen, I understand you like to be spontaneous, or you're so much into the logics and so much into this, and like I'm gonna need you to really be in tune with what our energetic love language is right now, so that we can continue to work as a union, right? So I did say Jupiter square Saturn. No, I said the sun and the moon. So Jupiter is also going to be squaring Saturn as well. So this is that tug of war of getting so many ideas, and that like having to balance between pessimistic and optimistic mindsets, right? So I really just look at that as a opportunity for mindset shifts to really recalibrate your thoughts when you find yourself really sinking deep into the shadows. Do the fucking shadow work. Feel that shit all the way the fuck through. That's what Venus and Libra is saying. It's like, in order for you to really balance your head and your heart, you gotta go through that shadow. You gotta put in that work, and you want to be in a balanced state with yourself, right? Whereas Mars and Gemini can kind of be a little bit avoidant, right? So just being mindful of that. We also have Uranus, which it's still in retrograde in the sign of Taurus. In the second house, it's going to be trining Pluto. So that's, again, spontaneous work changes, changes in the collective when it comes down to major companies. This could be major companies making major shifts in the background because of the whole Saturn and Pisces opposition, right? And Pisces and Neptune kind of being in the hidden house, in the 12th house of like hidden enemies. That stuff may not be revealed to the public just yet. That can happen after November, is what I'm seeing. So there could be a lot of big contracts that's being maybe some big companies being bought out, or merging together. Because again, Uranus Uranus is very much about shock and changes in one's life, and it's in the second house, which is the house of values, is a house of money, right? And it's trining Pluto in the 10th house of career, right? And so that's really something to look after. And because it's Uranus is also sextile Neptune, this could be, medical. This could be, maybe there's going to be changes in like some insurance policies. There could be changes in the medical field as a whole, right? So just really being mindful. I would even say, because this is Virgo energy going around, so like the new moon is in Virgo, being mindful of like maybe like food poisoning or something like that, right? To kind of like avoid it, just making sure you're eating fresh foods, being gentle with yourself that day, and then we also have the North Node, which is still in Aries, and it's squaring the Ascendant, which is in Cancer. That's going to be a very short energy, but the North Node is essentially, my phone is ringing, so I'm sorry if y'all hear that in the background. It's in the whole of this space, but the North Node is essentially where the collective is moving forward to at this time. The North Node is going to be shifting out of Aries soon, but it's still here during this moon process, so I don't want to lose all of y'all. With it squaring Cancer, right? The ascendant is only there for like every 2 hours. It changes and whatnot. But Cancer is the mother. It's the nurturer, right? What this is saying is that it can challenge emotions. It can challenge your mother wounds. Okay, like mother wounds could be a very big thing that's coming up, and perhaps some of you are even dealing with like some health issues or something like that. It doesn't have to be anything major, but there could be like, body pains or headaches or something like that when it comes down to dealing with your mother or something like, or a mother wound, right? Like, just really deep personal things, right? Because with it in Aries, it's personalized, right? And so, trying to not take things so personal and get into the space of looking at the picture. Oh, thank you. My shirt? Yeah, thank you. Well, it's a sweater. I actually had this for like a really long time, and I was so much skinnier, so it fitted me better. But we're not going to talk about that, right? Yeah, so, this can be where it's like maybe somebody gets into an argument or something with their mother, or they're trying to just like cut through the shadow work and not face their like emotions, right? This is gonna come up. Watery emotions is gonna come up. It's for you to deal with, right? And so I just wanted to give you all the quick, fast rundown of the astrology. I know I said a lot without even saying a lot, because sometimes I share so much and it's just too much for you to digest, and I really want you all to be able to digest this information. Of course, depending on your natal chart, depends on the placements of these planets and how they can manifest for you. And it's all subjective as well. Like I said, it's the weather. You figure out, if it's a rainy day, do I want to go out and dance in the rain? Do I want to cover myself with an umbrella in the rain? Do I want to stay home? You figure that part out, right? And so we're going to get into the cards. I am going to do the Deviant Moon deck was one of the cards that actually wanted to come out. And I haven't used this deck in so long. An angelic deck, actually. And it's so fitting because of my shirt. But it was not even like planned. They just wanted to come through. So even though there is going to be some heavier messages here pertaining to like some shadow work that has to get done, there's going to be a lot of angelic support and advice that's also going to be given here. I do feel like there's going to be a lot of positive messages as well, because we have, and Venus is squaring the ascendant as well, which is why there's like a little bit of like that tug. But if there is a gut feeling or an intuitive nudge of someone being a hater, someone not necessarily being completely truthful or honest with you in that way, I would say pay attention to that intuitive nudge. Trust the process. I kept getting High Priestess energy too. So sit in the seat of your throne when it comes down to that. But also, don't be quick to jump to conclusions, right? Allow things to reveal itself to you, right? So let's get into it. I just want to see what is the overall energy for this new moon. For this new moon in Virgo, what is the overall energy? Yeah, making sure. And there we go. So we have the King of Cups. Okay, so the King of Cups is very much about emotional intelligence. Somebody who has come into a space of like mastering thyself when it comes down to their emotions. They could be very nurturing. It did kind of fall on the reverse side, and I do read reversals for those of you who don't know. So on the reverse side, this could be emotional manipulation. Somebody who's very in tune with emotions and possibly being, playing games with your emotions, right? And so me putting it upright in this space, this is saying this is really an opportunity for you to use that discernment and knowing who's playing with your emotions and who's not, right? Are you putting yourself in a victim mentality? Are you manipulating yourself? Are you lying to yourself about some emotions that you really got to sink deeper into clearing once and for all, so that way you don't have to continue to be in that heaviness and that space. This could be that maybe some of you are feeling maybe a little bit depressive, or just really actually taking the time to get a deeper introspective view of your emotions to kind of balance it out with your logics, but feeling it through. When it's in reverse, this could be someone who is in the process of going through harder emotional lessons so that they can step into that mastery of self when it comes down to their emotions. And when it's upright, that's an individual who has done the work when it comes down to their emotions, and they know how to work that. What I'm also getting with this is like Hayoke energies, where there could be some like empathic people who they feel your energy and they're tapping into your emotions, but they reflect it back to you in a quote unquote negative manner, right? It's like they're if you're really happy, they might express it to you in a really sad way. And it's like, really like, is this testing my like patience, my emotions? Like, and it's because the way that they can move energy is by really tapping into the shadow side of your emotions to bring it to the forefront so that you can get back into like transmuting that for yourself. So Hayokes are really good with helping people become that master of emotions, right? Although they may not always get looked at that way. Sometimes people label them as narcissists. And that's not necessarily always the case, right? It could just be that this is how that empath expresses, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, that is how they are here, sent from the universe to express that energetic exchange of emotions, right? Like, you're going to pour into me, I'm going to pour into you. I'm pouring the same shit you're pouring into me, but in its polar opposite. Do you know what to do with that? Are you really as compassionate and loving and light as you claim yourself to be? Or can you truly step into this side here and know what the fuck to do with this energy? Can you turn it around? Can you at least turn yourself around? You don't have to fall into other people's emotions. You don't have to stay and entertain the Hayoke either. But you have to be willing to say, you know what? This is too much for me right now, and I think I'm gonna go. Or if you feel like this is something that's really being brought up for you to really dive deeper into learning the lessons, what that emotion has to tell you, perhaps just go in with an unbiased mind frame so that you can learn to hear what the message is from that emotion. Okay? So that's like the overall energy here. Excuse me. And welcome to everybody who's just coming in. Can you tell me more about this new moon in Virgo when it comes down to just the collective energy in regards to careers? Let's go into careers real quick. Thank you. That's funny because in the bottom of the deck, we have the Death card, which is definitely Pluto energy, right? And Pluto's in the 10th house. And then we have the 3 of Pentacles, which is usually traditionally Mars and Capricorn energy. But we know that Venus is squaring Mars, but this is also soul contracts. This could be that, again, like I mentioned, there could be massive collective contracts that are being rewritten in the collective when it comes down to major companies. Okay, this can definitely be, so this is just kind of confirming what I was picking up with the astrology as well. I feel like this is definitely a huge career shift for many of you. This could also just be, if you're not changing careers, just getting a promotion, but this is collaborations. This is you harmonizing with the feminine, masculine, and inner child to achieve your goals. Oh, is it 10:01 already? See, I don't even know what time I started, what time it is. I don't know if I've been holding y'all up so long. I apologize, but thank you for letting me know the time. Yes. So I really feel like this is about putting in the work, putting in the effort. This could be rewriting contracts, again, like I mentioned. So renegotiating maybe some contracts when it comes down to your career. Maybe there was something that was, maybe you were working a project that was supposed to be a couple months, and maybe it's a couple weeks, or it went from a couple weeks to a couple months. Whatever it is, I feel like this is looking back at certain contracts or experiences that happened during maybe like Mercury retrograde. This could also be that perhaps some of you have put some applications out and you were waiting to hear back from that. And so some news coming in regards to paperwork that you had filled out prior to this new moon, or maybe you were putting it off because of the retrograde, and now is the time that you go and you do this like renegotiation type thing is what I'm looking at this. For some of you, this is a reconciliation with like maybe you left a job and maybe somebody maybe going back to an old job, or realizing like how you want to reorganize your structure in the workplace, right? Really taking time to look at how you can collaborate and teamwork with your peers and the resources you have around you. All right. And so let's look at love here for the collective. That was fast. And 2 cards came out. So it was the Emperor and the Lovers. And isn't that fucking hilarious, right? So the Emperor is Aries energy, which is naturally ruled by Mars, and the Lover is ruled by Geminis. So what's interesting is Venus is also the goddess of love. We have Venus squaring Mars in Gemini. I will look at this exactly as that, Mars in Gemini. This can be that there's really going to be a massive activation for certain lovers that's going to come through. But I'm really looking at this where it can be that maybe there's maybe like your partner, maybe the masculine overworking, spending so much time in like with work, or how do I say that? Like, it could be someone really controlling as well, or just emotionally detached. And that's going to be what's in the bottom of the deck here. We have the Knight of Wands in the bottom of the deck here. So this could also be movement. This could be, you know, maybe with Venus squaring Mars and let's see what's behind it, the Chariot and the Ace of Swords. This could be some moves in regards to travel or something like that when it comes down to a partner. There is going to be some fast-paced movement and some news when it comes down to that. But overall, this is going to be something victorious because we do have the Chariot here, which is ruled by Cancer. But again, Venus is also squaring the Ascendant, which is in Cancer. So if there was going to be some sort of like vacation or travel or something, I would definitely say prepare for some turbulence, if you will, around that time. It might be that you're going to be traveling after the new moon, and maybe there was some turbulence before. Let me just take a look. I'll do some more confirmations on that as well. Hold on one second. It looks like there's going to be a head of a heart decision when it comes down to some lovers and when it comes down to like work. This could also maybe be balancing like work and romance things. This could be like where how I look at this too in a positive light, and what I really like with this is coming together to build a foundation together, right? What the Emperor is about building the empire, right? And two lovers coming into harmony. You see how they're making love? They're just like lushing on each other. Like, that is so yummy. Like, y'all better not take my video down because y'all see some nipples or something. But listen, they loving this. This could be that there's also possibly like a masculine figure or a father figure trying to like tell the couple what to do or something like that. But they are crazy in love, okay? So on a positive side, this can be like a father approving of a marriage. This can be that's like maybe like shocking to other people. This could also be that perhaps like the masculine of the relationship resembles like the father energy, or resembles like what it is that this person has been looking for when it comes down to leadership, when it comes down to holding down a foundation. All right, when it comes down like the masculine, the feminine, and the masculine really putting in that energy to go after what it is that they want for their empire, right? So that's on the positive side with that. But I do see a little bit of like turbulence with that. So that can be post Mercury shadow phase stuff that's going on there. Tell us what's going on in the ethers, in the etheric realm when it comes down to this new moon in Virgo. What is going down in the etheric realm? And I kind of feel like using another deck, but I will in a moment. There we go. Thank you. So we have the Five of Pentacles and then the Five of Cups here, and it was in reverse. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles in the bottom of the deck. So with the Five of Cups in reverse, this really tells me, like, remember how I was saying, you know, there may be some challenges to scarcity mindset, to overthinking, to like depressive energies. This is really someone that maybe perhaps they get some assistance from the divine feminine or even their mother. This could be somebody grieving their mother and coming to a space of coming to do. I mentioned mother wounds. I did mention mother wounds. Okay, I forgot about that. This could be on a collective level where maybe some deep mother wounds coming up to be healed. Okay, in the etheric realm. This could be emotions that's saying, you see how there's 3 cups down, but there's 2 cups up here? How I'm seeing this is like, it could be, if you're in a relationship, this could be like you and your partner really just holding it down together while one partner or maybe both is going through a grievance process when it comes down to some deep mother wounds. All right. Spirit is really saying take the time to do the healing work when it comes down to this. This is also maybe some of you felt abandoned or felt like you don't really have the support of others and not really knowing who to talk to, and you're not realizing that you have other people to talk to. There's still 2 cups up. So with it in reverse, it's kind of like you're forgetting that you have the people to talk to. You have a partner or friends. You have loved ones that's there to be supportive of you, but you may not be open to expressing your emotions. Maybe you don't talk about it. You know, this is also somebody, you see how they're joking in the background and stuff, making fun. This is like someone who would rather crack jokes than to actually like dive deep into their emotions, right? They make joke or fun out of their depression, and so people may not really know that they're really depressed or something like that, right? In the same token, this could also been maybe like some traumas, because maybe some of you had abusive parents, right? You could have had abusive parents or an abusive mother who really spoke down to you, or some sort of like mother wound like that, right? This could also be, if it's not pertaining to a mother specifically, this could just be somebody who does like embody mother energy, but maybe didn't necessarily treat you right or talk to you correctly, and it's really bringing some like deep connection with that so that you can get grounded and firm, because even behind that we have the 2 of Swords, and you see that battle, that struggle, like it's like really a battle of the egos is what this energy is saying. Like somebody is really embodying mother energy more than like what they experienced from their childhood or something like that, and it's coming to a challenge because it's like, I want to move forward. I want to I want to move past the stuff that was really hurting me before. Perhaps this mother had gotten sick. This could also be like maybe you have a mother who you had a great relationship with, or still have a great relationship, but perhaps she is going through a depression or going through some deep, intense, like dark night of the soul, if you will, right? And you are like you become the caregiver or something like that. So that's something that's coming up. It does feel like, and behind the 2 of Swords was the 5 of Wands. So this could also be that, you know, perhaps there's it could be your partner's mother, so like maybe a mother-in-law who's very competitive or something like that, or maybe, you know, it doesn't have to be a mother-in-law. Maybe your childhood wound was that your mother was very competitive with you. And ladies, I'm gonna just go there real quick, right? For the females, unfortunately, there are some females that had to experience their mother jealous of them. And they're like, they don't understand why their mothers was jealous of them, because they were here to come bring light, a light that their mother needed, but their mother was so toxic or so in their womb that the mother didn't quite know how to nurture them. And so rather than really giving that love onto their child, they were very like just judgmental, harsh speaking to them, jealous of them, even competed with them. And it's almost like, this doesn't even make sense, right? So that could be like a mother wound that is coming up to the surface for the collective on the etheric realm that needs healing. Okay, for the brothers, right? Like this could also be that perhaps, you know, you had your mom have every say in your relationship and everything like that, and it was like to the point where if your mom didn't like a girl, something, that was it, regardless of like your relationship with the girl, if you really had a deep connection with that, or your mom wanted to like act like she's your wife. And in some cases it's like having to really address that and put it in a space where it's like, Ma, I love you, but you're doing too much. This is my union, my union, and I'm here to build an empire with this individual here, and you're just gonna have to like accept that. However the conversation comes up, that can be something too. How I'm also seeing this is that it can be a child, a son or something that is abusive towards their mother, and their mother really just trying their hardest to not fight with their child, and is just really trying to get through things. So there's something about like healthy boundaries and really getting out of depression, and seek support from your peers and your loved ones. Okay, if that sounds like something that you're going through, this is you're not alone. There is a grievance factor that's going on here on a collective level anyways, as a whole here. Okay, this could also be just like abusive feminine energies towards like masculine energy, right? So just being mindful of any like verbal abuse is kind of what it's feeling like the most. But it can be physical abuse. It can be any type of abuse, right? So just being mindful of that, and how like there has been massive attacks on both the feminine and masculine collective with that, to kind of get the household to separate, right? To get the household to break apart. And excuse me. With that being said, this is really like coming to a space of like nurturing the foundation to keep maybe, let's pray together, right? Keeping the foundation in one space. This could be like compromising and working together as opposed to working against your partner, right? So this could just be spiritual attacks against like the mother energy as a whole in the etheric realm, right? Like there has been so much abuse on mother energy for decades, for centuries. Okay, and so on the etheric realm, there's a massive collective healing that is happening with the divine mother frequency. And so there may be some resistance that some people are going to be feeling, but nonetheless, this is the opportunity to come in. So I told y'all from the beginning, this could be a little bit of a heavier read, because it's really talking about like the healing aspect of this moon, right? This moon is really coming in to do some deep, thorough cleansing. All right. So let me know certain other areas in the comments that y'all probably want me to touch on. But if not right now, what I'm going to do while we are here, I'm going to look at what shadow energies for the collective, like what dark mirror it is that it's really calling for the collective to look at. And I don't know if my comments are still working. I know my numbers are not working up there because it's only saying 2 people, but I know there's more than 2 people here. So there's that. So one of the shadow, the number 4 is coming through. That might be very significant to you. But it says, is this me? Is this me? Taking a look in the mirror and asking, is this me? Have you been dealing with like imposter syndrome? Perhaps you don't feel like you've been dealing with imposter syndrome. Perhaps you feel like you've been yourself, but maybe you are feeling heavy, or maybe you are feeling tense, and you're like, is this really me? Is this where I'm at in life right now? Maybe it's because of the career shifts or just everything that's changing in that way. It really got you questioning, is this me? I am going to read this from the book, but I really want you to take a look at this real quick. She's holding the sword of truth down to hold her in the position in where she's like squatting. She's not quite sitting, but she's not standing, and she's wearing a crown. So for some of you, this could be that, maybe you've been downplaying yourself, and you're getting to a space where spirit is really asking you to stretch beyond the limitations of your mind, and you're like, am I capable of that? Like, is that really me? Or maybe you've been following through the steps of society. Maybe you've been doing, your career is surrounded what your parents had always want you to do or something. And in your heart space, you really just wanted to do something else. You've been feeling called to do, go to another area, and shine your light in that space. And you're really questioning your position in life here now. This is for the shadow work here. I am going to read this here too. I really like this energy though, because it's like it's a remembrance of your crown. It's a remembrance of, the hard decisions that you have to make in order to stand firm in that position. Sometimes we let people overstep our boundaries a lot of the time, and it hurts us. And then it's like, a part of us wants to blame them, but we know that we can't really blame them because we allowed them to step over our boundaries. And when we're in the midst of that experience, you're like, am I really going through this? Is this really inside of me? Is this what I'm attracting? Is this what I'm manifesting? And a part of it is, in your subconscious mind. Another part of what I'm seeing with this energy, and it's kind of really spicy and juicy, and I kind of feel like the strong Venus energy with this, and like Venus is going to be trining Pluto, right? Is tapping into your dark feminine energies and really like not feeling ashamed or guilty for stepping into that space, because you're like, this is me too. This is me too. And other people's like asking questions, and you're like, is this me? Yeah, this is me. Yeah. And being there, firm in your truth, wearing your crown, looking luscious, looking spicy and sensual and sexy, and like, this could also be maybe being a little like detached from other people's opinions, and just like, you know what? Everybody's so used to you being very nurturing and empathic and loving, and you're like, I really want to wear this side of me right now. And you were probably battling those thoughts for a really long time. Like, you feel it inside of you. You want to respond that way. You see other people in the collective respond. You're like, I really want to like be like that. I like this person. I like how they approach things. I want to dress like that. And maybe you were just really afraid to show that side because of criticism and judgments, and maybe even some past trauma that, for example, I had gone through molestation and rape. And so for a long time, I stopped dressing up. I didn't want to look pretty. I didn't want to look attractive at all, because I did not want anybody to hit on me. Like, I really did not. And I was suffering in that. I didn't really feel quite like myself either, because it was like, I like wearing these clothes, but that's not an invitation for somebody to disrespect me. It's just, I like what I like. And it doesn't have to mean, XYZ. And so I was always the type that didn't give a fuck about their opinions. But when that happened, it did create such a trauma response that I reserved myself so much that I wasn't even allowing myself to experience the pleasures of life that I enjoy again, right? And so that can be what some of the healing is happening in the collective, is allowing yourself to really get back to you, to really honor your spicy side, honor what brings you pleasure as well, without fucking guilt, right? But also balancing it out with like being productive and really letting it come from a healed emotional intelligence, right? Coming from a space of expressing without overpouring, right? Wow, there's a lot. Yeah, this is really me. Look at, see how that works? They said, well, we're going to take it out. But I like that. Give me back. Give me back. It's okay. There we go. I like my real face, and I like this face. Is this really me? This is a part of me. But is it really me? Is the reflection of who we see in the camera, in the screen, in the pictures, is that really me? Is the person who you see in front of the mirror, is that even really you? Is that really me? If I am not fully, if I am not all of, if my body is a part of me, but I am not only my body, is my reflection me? Those type of thoughts, right? Expanding it as deep as you want to get, right? Mirrors are very quantified also. This is number 4. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the new moon phase. Also, if you look, it's like the dark moon there. So that will be so divine. Let's see here. Yes, phase. Dark mirror coming through with the new moon phase. And it is a new moon reading that we're doing. So synchronicity, right? So it says, I cannot recognize myself, but I'm still me. Listen to this, okay? If any of this resonates for you, perhaps this is when you want to take some notes and really see if any of what, I don't know what I'm about to read, but if any of what I'm about to read is something for you to dive into. Nonetheless, even if nothing that I read rings true to you to dive into, but the rest of the message did, then that is an invitation for you to do some mirror work, some mirror magic. I will advise you to cleanse your mirror, clean your mirror, maybe even get a brand new mirror to work with, and you can turn it around so that nobody else can see it when you're not present. You know, they're not looking into it. It's just a mirror that only you look into. And that way, you know, the energies is just really reflective of all the shadow work that you do. And it can be very intense when you do shadow mirror work. Because like some people like, oh, I saw a demon and this, that, and the third. And a lot of the times that's your own inner like demons, the spirits that you choose to house inside of you. And that can be really intense and even scary for some people. But I invite you to stay confident when you do that, and know that nothing cannot hurt you without your permission, and that you have a right to command the energies to remove themselves from your space and from your temple. And or you can just have a conversation with it and really ask deeper questions. It's up to you. You do what you will. If you want more information on that, I do have another YouTube video that breaks down mirror magic in regards to that. So you could just DM me and ask me. But it says here, a dark fantasy female warrior with pale skin is enshrouded by a scarcity spiked bikini armor. She holds a fanged bat-hilted sword against a background of fire and ruin. All right, the sentence is, I cannot recognize myself as I can't remember the road that led me here. How can I see the road ahead? Perhaps some of you are having some fear of the unknown road ahead. Perhaps you're like, I want to do this shadow work, but I don't even know where to start. I don't even know how I got here. I don't even know when all of this shit started, right? So asking that question, and if no answer comes, don't have judgment, but write it down. And I invite you to just like in your journal, just write whatever comes to my mind. Nothing is coming down, and then just keep writing and writing and writing until something comes through. Okay? And so it says going dark. This is the invitation. This card is not about an affirmation, but rather a question. Is it me? Can I recognize myself? Maybe yes, maybe no. But for sure, I lost the road I had once. The last time I stopped to really think about it, in my heart, I feel maybe like a high school girl that went to the prom. But truly, I am now 45 and I wait thrice. I feel my true self as the kid that I I feel my true self as the kid that wanted to play soccer with the Real Madrid. All this while punching numbers on an Excel file. Out in an insurance office. It is not necessarily something negative as a dream lost or corrupted. I could see myself as love is the most important thing in my life. But actually, I have a very well-paid job that makes me travel and I sleep alone in hotel rooms. When did we last look at ourselves in the mirror? Do we like what we are? Make no excuses, because the choice which made what we are our responsibility. If an old dream is dead, it is time to dream anew. If the old dream is alive, it is time to go back to it. Ooh, if this doesn't sum up what I was just fucking saying throughout this whole thing though, like for real, the responsibility of that, what I want to go back to that what she said here, how I was talking about like the working of a job and stuff like that, the Excel thing, the Excel files, like I just really saw like, you know, as an entrepreneur or bookkeeper and stuff like that, it's really important, like, or if you know, doing investing work and stuff like that, you know, you type in numbers in your Excel files to keep things organized so that you know how things are going. And it also says out of an insurance office. And I did get like insurance policies or insurance contracts and stuff changing. This could be even health insurance. So perhaps some of you may have gotten like even a diagnosis or something. And it's like, are you your diagnosis, or is that a part of you? Right? And sometimes that can be difficult to really even digest and comprehend. Sometimes this could be a denial of what our imbalances are, because we want to spiritually bypass, and spirit is inviting you to like balance it through, but also know like you are not, you know how we say like I am angry, or I am XYZ, whatever you say I am, whatever you say after I am, you are claiming that you are that, right? And you can say I feel, or I'm expressing anger, I'm experiencing anger, rather than say I am anger, right? I do believe in like honoring a sacred rage, but even with the girls, like on the 40 days and 40 nights, I had them question like, do you know the difference between sacred rage and anger? And some people don't necessarily know if there's a difference, if or anything like that, or feel a difference. They are practically one and the same, but they are different. Because sacred rage experiences and expresses anger, but it is not anger itself, right? So we have, our souls has multiple expressions that we get to contain and house and experience in this vessel. But we are not those identities either. But they are personifications of characteristics, if you will, of energy, right? And it's okay to claim it too, if you want to claim it, because we are energy, and we are one with the wholeness of that, right? And so, yes, going into the macro and the wholeness of it, but also getting back down grounded to be realistic. Be realistic so that you're not trying to spiritually bypass your experiences here, and you're really taking care of what needs to be taken care of here in this realm, in these dimensions, so that way everything is manifesting fruitfully for you, and that you could allow your inner child to play soccer, right? Or dress how you want to dress. Hello, Parish Sexy Spirit, I love you, sis. So that's that. Let me see here what advice the angels have for you all here. What angel wants to come through to bring some support, advice, light code frequencies, to bring through like the angles of light that's going to be working in your favor and working in harmony with coming to true realization of who you are. That's funny because there's two of the same exact archangel, which is Archangel Raziel, which is the angel of death, and it's also connected to the Ajna chakra, which is your inner eye, your first eye, or your third eye, if you will. And this says humility. The other one said devotion. In the bottom of the deck is Archangel Metatron here. And so this is indigo color, indigo energy. It could also be the violet flame energy and golden flame frequencies. And it is the black flame energy. And so this could be putting dead things to rest as well. But with humility here is, again, yes, we are spiritual beings and we're God-like, we're made in God's image and the wholeness of things. But if we lack the responsibility of our energy, of what we're producing out there, we can sometimes miss the point, right? And so I did mention, you see how they're hugging a tree and the tree is so much bigger? That's because like we truly are bigger than what we allow ourselves to experience. And so sometimes we downplay ourselves with that. But also, and I don't have the book here, but I kind of feel like I'm supposed to read it. Oh, and this is Jubilance here, Jubilees, right? So, which is celebration, right? So celebrating your life and honoring that you are a light being regardless of what life is putting at you, right? But nonetheless, this is connecting with a big, massive mother tree here. And what I'm getting with that is every tree grows its roots downward, and as it grows its roots downward, every single tree that in the world is interconnected, right? It's interconnected, just like the flower of life, right? Interconnected through its roots, right? And so I think that's a really beautiful thing. This is talking about being grounded during this time, allowing yourself to get grounded, perhaps connect with a tree, hug a tree that can help you. I always advise people, and what's interesting also is that this is connected with the Ajna chakra. And I'm going to show you the light code for those of you who may want to draw it. I know my lighting is a little bit dark right now, so bear with me. I'll show you that in just a moment because it does have a sigil here and a symbol that some of you may want to work with if you want to work with Archangel Raziel, right? And so, hugging the tree, you're gonna pick a tree or let the tree pick you, right? Empathically, intuitively, through your spidey senses, right? Just feeling it through, and connect with the tree for 11 minutes minimum. But while you are connecting with this tree for the 11 minutes, you're gonna put your ajna, your forehead, onto the tree bark, just like they have here. Okay? For 11 minutes. This is going to help produce a spiritual cleansing. This is going to help ground you and recalibrate your chakras as well. Okay? It's going to give you an energetic exchange with the tree. So make sure you also go with no expectations. Just love on the tree unconditionally and let the tree love on you. You may cry. You may not cry. You may laugh. You may not laugh. You may feel an amplification of emotions, right? You may feel a centering, a grounding of emotions or relief of emotions. You may experience visuals or audience, clear audience, or your clairs getting activated. And so that is an advice that is being given to you, is just really connecting with humility again. The humility of yourself and the humility of others. Because let's just face it, a lot of the times, because we know that the bigger picture is that this is all happening in divine order, sometimes we could just be too disconnected and numbed to people's experiences. And so it's not about pity or apathy, it's about empathy at this time. And then also being grounded in that as well. It's kind of what I'm feeling. And let me just show some of you here. Let's see if you can see a good view of that. So that is the sigil. And doesn't it look so beautiful? It almost looked like there's the S on the chest for like Superwoman, Superman, the spiral of the feminine and masculine energies of life, and it, like two bosoms there, like breasts, right? Being nurtured by the Divine Mother's bosom here. And then it looks like the Roman numeral 3 also. And two divine, the feminine and masculine forces coming together. This also looks like a phallus and a yoni creating a portal together for the Holy Trinity. So that's just what I'm seeing now. Definitely just sit with that energy, and whatever's coming through for you may be a channeled message for you to kind of like connect with. All right. And we was talking about mother wounds also. And so the fact that I mentioned like the bosoms, right? You know, maybe you were breastfed, or it's just the nurturance of the mother, right? And you know, we are of the stars, and like some of us are from the Milky Way, right? this galaxy, right? The Milky Way galaxy. And so allowing that energy to just pour its secretion, its healthy secretion onto you. And yeah, let's see any additional advice here from the Osho deck. Past lives. Okay, so past lives might be coming through. What I'm feeling with this past lives is not letting the past hold you back. I feel like this is a time to allow your past lives be an activation for you to move forward. Utilize it as a tool. Utilize it as an experience, as a message, for you to know how to move forward from not getting stuck in the past, but rather telling your story anew. Right? This could be that perhaps, you know, past life gifts are going to be handed to you either from your ancestors or just your DNA, right? Some DNA upgrades that your soul has already like mastered or fulfilled and is bringing it forth to you. But not getting stuck in the story of it, not freeing yourself. That's what I'm hearing. Freedom, freeing yourself from the memory, but honoring the gift of that memory is what I'm getting with past lives here. Rebirth in the bottom of the deck, 10. Can't make it up. Past life and rebirth. The past is the past. If you were meant to stay in that storyline, you would have stood there and you wouldn't have to be doing what you're doing here. Right? Then this is abundance flow, right? Abundance flow. So allowing its abundance and ripeness. Okay. All right. Affirming the ripeness of your DNA, the generational wealth, affirming the bountifulness that source has for you to experience new things. New things. Yes, the past has a history, it has a story, and it's beautiful, and it's good to know. It's good to know your past, right? Some of these contracts is that, you know, rewriting for your sovereignty, You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how that looks, whether that's paperwork or just spiritual, it's all spiritual. Those of you think, it's its own thing, whatever, is not separate from spirit. It has a major role in that as well, right? But your abundance flow. Your abundance flow comes through at its ripest when you are truly in your authenticity, when you are truly in the divine alignments of where it is that you need to be. And you need to be here to hear these messages now, because your soul brought you here so that you can hear whatever messages is for you, even if it sounds redundant, even if it sounds like I say this shit all the time. Hear it again because you hear. Right? Like, are you really getting it through? Sometimes I need to hear shit multiple times too. That's okay. If you know what lessons are for you, apply them. Right? And it's okay. Like, there's no judgment here. This is for your rebirth. This is bringing you that freedom. This is allowing you to be the wild one that you are, but also do so with integrity. Do so with what is that word? Like, I wasn't gonna say regalness, but it's with, like, I don't know, not roar, but like, I'm hearing Vogue or something. I don't know. I don't know. But additional messages, and one more message. Any additional messages here? No. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 closing cards. I'm going to do 1 closing card with a tarot. And I don't see anything else. Patience. And be patient with yourself. You are literally going through a rebirth. Some of you on the bottom of the deck is exhaustion. So some of you may be feeling super exhausted at this time, and this is your opportunity to get the rest, to replenish yourself, to be patient with your process, right? And then behind that is harmony and sharing, but harmony, right? Harmonizing with yourself. If you are exhausted, honor where you are being guided to rest at, right? What are you putting to rest, right? That's a sign. When your body is tired or your mind is tired, it's exhausted, it's telling you, hey, even the most successful people know, like, you know what? Yes, I gotta do the work. There's one thing about taking a rest, is another thing about being lazy, right? We're not talking about being lazy and doing nothing just for the sake of, I don't feel like it. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about when your spirits are exhausted, they need to be replenished, rejuvenated. They need to rest. They need to restore. Okay? For this rebirth to occur. There's literally a collective rebirth that is happening here. And a mother is patient with the development of their child during the pregnancy. Even if she's going through her mood swings, having her cravings, going through a massive transformation. Like, what the fuck is going on with my body? What is going on with my thoughts and all of these things, right? Is this me? Is this me? You're going through a rebirth, baby. All right. And the bottom of the deck of the other one was the number 30, and it says calling the storm. So that might be significant to some of you, okay? Calling the storm. I'm going to just share that. All right. So let's get one final closing card. Oh, there's 2 here. So we'll see for the collective. Is it 2 or is it more than 2? Oh, no, it's more than 2. That's too much here. But the King of Presents was the first one that came out. So the King of Presents is the King of Pentacles. But let's see here. I just need 1 card. One final card for the collective to close out this space. Or to close out this reading. And then I'm going to do the affirmation as a final releasing of you all. All right, here we go. So this deck really wants to talk. Lots of swords energy here. So it says judgment in the bottom of the deck here. So this is like a final judgment call, right? There's a difference between making a choice and making a decision, right? When you make a choice, you can kind of change your mind. When you make a decision, a lot of the times it's harder to change that decision. A lot of the times it's something more solidified. It's more firm in that, right? In the decision making. Sometimes you got to make hard decisions. Sometimes we're being too judgmental on our peers or too judgmental on ourselves. But this is also a cosmic judgment that is happening right now. And it's like, thou shalt not judge, right? At the same time, you want to be the captain of your ship. So having great discernment. But when the judgment comes out, the reason why I say there's a difference between choice and decision is because the decisions that you make now are the final judgment. It is what the court rules. This is why you are ruling as the captain of your ship to put in favor for your journey ahead for the world. The next card after the judgment card is the world card. Right? And so this is a final decision. This is the ending of cycles so that you are not repeating that. The final judgment to whatever experience it is that you are experiencing so that you could take it with you and quantum leap into the world that you are wanting to experience and live. That is what the judgment card is here. It's you honoring how to use healthy discernment with everything that you were taught, with all the lessons that you have. They say only God could judge. This is a higher mind making that decision, quote unquote, judging in accordance to the details of what actually is. Not what you think it is, not how you feel it is, but what actually is. This is your higher self stepping in. And I invite you all to kind of take a moment during this new moon in Virgo and say, I invite my higher self to step my ego to the side and intervene in my decision making at this time so that I am in divine alignment with the purpose of my highest timeline, so that I am living in that reality of truth. If that resonates with you, right? It can be a little bit scary having the ego be the observer of what your soul wants to put in place for you, what God wants to put in place for you, what source wants to put in place for you, the creator of your soul. So it's like he's checking the list and he's checking it twice to see if you were naughty or nice, right? I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but it's kind of the energy of what this shift is actually putting into place. And I really feel like this judgment card is not just the closing card of this new moon in Virgo, but that this is fully going to show its full fruition when Pluto exits out of Capricorn. I feel like Pluto in retrograde in the sign of Capricorn during this new moon is the final judgment. So that you can really reap the benefits or the rewards or the consequences of were you naughty or nice. And who's to say who's naughty and who's nice? Who's the judge of that? Who's the judge of that? Clearly, the results that you have in life shows you. Because sometimes the what they say, the path to hell is paved with good intentions, because people want to project a reality out to other people of how they think they need to be living their life according to their love and light projections. You don't know their full story, and if you do, and you know they're in their pain body, why are you judging them for being in their pain body? Be in the awareness of it. Judge yourself. Step your ego to the side. Say, God, I'm ready. I'm ready. Intervene. I dare you. I triple dog dare you. But that's the final card there. Let's see here what affirmations want to come through here. What affirmations can we leave this collective with? I love that. The crown chakra, because we wearing our crowns. Okay. And it says, grace, my grace, your grace. Are we graceful? Are we graceful? It looks like the divine's grace is here with the judgment call, right? And we talked about it. Is this me? Is this me, my grace? The grace of a higher power is with me, and I move through life knowing this truth. I believe in a higher power, and I know that it is within me and around me, offering assistance and guidance. I surrender all my fears and burdens to a higher power. I am open to receive grace, and I trust in a higher power. I am worthy. God gonna make me come. I love it. So delicious. So delicious. I love that message for you all. I really do. You know, when I pray before I get on lives, I always pray for the souls that are meant to hear the messages, be the ones that's guided to this space. And so if you were here from beginning to end, then you received all the messages that you needed to receive. If you came and left and came back, it is what it is. That's on you. You have free will. But I do always pray with intentions before I sit down and I pull cards. And part of the intentions is that I am used as a divine vessel. I step my ego to the side. I allow the divine to use me as a messenger of truth, and of benevolence, truth, and righteous and perfect love and perfect trust for the highest and greatest good of all involved. And that the souls that are meant to receive these messages be the ones that are guided to receive it. And so take what resonates, leave the rest behind, what isn't yours. I love you. I honor you. And I'm going to end this one here. And then I'm probably going to come back on live. And I'm just going to do like really short pulls for the zodiacs. So I love you all. Matter of fact, I'm going to do it now since you're here. For those of you who just really want to connect deeper with all the chambers of your heart space and really connecting with balancing your divine feminine and masculine energies, this is a really intense mudra, but it also, because it also like connects and activates with the Merkaba. But it's a really heart purifier as well. And it will help you spread your wings. And so I always say, like, obviously have no rings on when you're going to do this, just because the rings can either cause restrictions or it can change up the elements of the energy. And the mudra is really tapping into your own feminine and masculine energy, So you want to just rub your hands to activate it, shake it just a little bit, just to get the energy active, hot, and moving, right? You're going to do this in a seated position. And then you can put the alarm for about 45 minutes, or you could just do a minimum of 5 minutes to really get it activated. The longer you do it, it's really intense, but you don't want to pass 45 minutes. And this is for the Anahata. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take the ring fingers, right? And you're going to take your right ring finger and you're going to place it in between the middle finger and the pointer finger of your left hand. And then you're going to take the left ring finger and you're going to do the same, crossing it over in between the middle and the pointer finger of your right hand. So that's going to look like that. Then you are going to tuck in the middle fingers like that. You're going to touch the base of your pinky, your pointer, and your thumb. So essentially, it's going to look like a heart, like that. And the horns as a form of protection. And it should look like that, right? And you're going to place it upward like this. So that way, you see how it still looks like a heart? You're creating a heart. And you put it over your anahata. And just breathe naturally in this space. So clearly this is a bonus for those of you who made it this far and didn't leave just yet. You get a bonus mudra. And to release it, you put your hands in Anjali prayer mode and you give yourself thanks and gratitude for showing up for yourself. And just honor the experience. If emotions come up, let the emotions come up. If the energy is like really, it's going to get really hot. It's going to get really intense. You could get cold. Fair warning for those of you who like maybe have like high blood pressure or something like that. I personally wouldn't recommend you do it by yourself just because it can raise the temperature in your body. My leg is asleep, my foot. It can raise the temperature in your body. And so I'm not trying to, this is not medical advice. I'm not liable for you. This is just a suggestion that I use, that I wanted to share with a divine brother who is here. And for any of you that at your own risk, at your own will would like to do, if that is something that you've been wanting to connect deeper in with the chambers of your hearts. And what are the secrets in your heart that your heart wants to reveal onto you? What are the desires that you've been withholding or withdrawing yourself to come to the forefront, or any emotions that maybe have been like suppressed or repressed? This could also help you tap into those past lives of things that you love, or maybe there were like certain traumas in past lives that you're like wondering, why am I afraid of this or what? And it's like, because it's in the love memory. And so there's 4 chambers in the heart, and then there's the lower heart and higher heart, and it does connect feminine and masculine energies together. So each time you do, it's going to be very different. And also don't have any expectations if you don't feel anything at all, because it's really dependent on like how connected you are to yourself. But the more connected you be, the more activating it will be. And it's always going to, so if you feel like you're not so connected with yourself, you're not in tune, do it for at least a minimum 5 minutes. Try to do 45 minutes. If you can't, do at least 20 minutes. Because it is going to start activating. And the more you do it, the more connected you will be. Okay. This also shows you where your love language is, and it shows you where you may have like let people overstep your boundaries, or where perhaps boundaries need to be put in place. Okay, so just some food for thought. And matter of fact, I can tell you what other benefits it has. So this is also known as the wheel of unstuck sound. So it is going to liberate you, because you see how like it's pointed upwards, right? It's also directing the energies back up, but the pinky is your the thumb is your fire. So it's also bringing that masculine energy down. So the sound of your soul getting unstuck so that you can hear your sound frequencies. So I would definitely you want to do this mudra in front of the chest while gazing inward, right at the heart center. You're going to relax your chest. You're going to relax your shoulders and your belly. And you're going to sit in stillness while you do this. And you might hear your aura or the sound frequencies within. That's a pretty cool thing that I have personally experienced. This also, like I mentioned, it activates the Anahata chakra. It improves the health of your heart, your lungs, your breast. And we did see like breast there, right? It regulates breathing. So if you've been having breathing issues, this helps you with the breath. It expands feelings of compassion and love, and it increases your natural healing abilities as well. And so those are some of the benefits. So I invite you to try it out if you want. But again, I am not responsible for what you choose to do in your life. That's up to you. If you do want to reach out to me, you can if you have any questions. But I haven't had like any quote unquote negative experiences from it or anything like that. But it can sometimes, when you're really like purging some like deep, intense emotions, it could almost feel like, am I having a heart attack? Or like, and that's the heart activations, right? Like you're fucking needing to purge all that shit that's been hindering you in that space, right? Like, am I dying? No, we're not dying. Like, but like a part, right? It's new birth. So take that as you will. I love you all, and may you all have a great night. If you want to come back for the second round, come back. Feel free. Love you. And I just want to make sure that I end this and not overwhelm everyone with all the messages that I just gave. Alrighty.